Why is it that the people we love most are often the ones who make us feel the most afraid? Think about that for a second. Strangers don't keep you up at night. Acquaintances don't make your chest tighten. It's the people closest to you who have that power. It's the spouse who goes quiet over dinner, or the friend who takes too long to reply, or the teenager who never says a word at home, or the adult child whose voice on the phone sounds distant, annoyed, or just a little bit off. Your chest tightens, your anxiety steps in, and the haunting questions begin. Did I do something wrong? Are they pulling away from me? Am I losing them? This is one of the stranger features of love. The deeper the attachment, the greater the fear. C.S. Lewis said it plainly, that to love anything or anyone is to be vulnerable, because in a fallen world like ours, love can be threatened, withheld, or lost. We reach toward people, and our own reaching exposes us to this vulnerability. That's not a bug in our human design, but it does raise an important question. Is there a way to love people without being afraid we'll lose them? The answer is yes, but it asks something of us. Stay with me, because at the end of this video, I'll suggest a way out of the vulnerability loop. When he wrote Psalm 62, David understood what it felt like to have the ground shift beneath him. He writes this to his own soul: "My soul, wait in silence for God alone, for my hope is from him. He alone is my rock and my salvation, my stronghold. I shall not be shaken." That phrase, "he alone," is doing a lot of work in this psalm. It appears twice in 5 verses. That kind of repetition in Hebrew poetry is not accidental. It's the writer talking himself down, reminding himself of something he knows he is prone to forget. God alone. Not God alone plus my relationships. Not God primarily and people secondarily. God alone as the foundation, the rock, the one thing in my life that cannot be moved or shaken. Now, this doesn't mean other people don't matter, or that it's good for us to withdraw from other people. It's not. The psalm is not an argument for detachment or isolation. The same writer who says he alone also pours out grief, names real enemies, and talks about real loss. He's not retreating from life. He's reorienting toward the only foundation that's stable enough to carry him through. What David the psalmist knows, and what most of us learn only after being knocked around a bit, is that when we build our sense of self and security on human relationships, we're building on shifting sand. This isn't because the people in our lives are bad or can't be trusted. It's because just like us, they're human. And all human beings, even the very best ones, are finite. They get tired. They have their own wounds. They love us with the limited love that's available to creatures who are also, just like us, in need of rescue. The theologian and priest Henri Nouwen spent most of his adult life thinking and writing about this, the human ache for belonging, and its complicated relationship with fear. In the 1980s, Nouwen left his prestigious post at Harvard University to live in a L'Arche community in France. This was a place where people with and without intellectual disabilities lived together in community. Nouwen later moved to Daybreak, another L'Arche community outside Toronto. It was there that he formed a close friendship with a community member named Adam, a young man who could not speak, walk independently, or care for himself. But another relationship in that community hit Nouwen hard. He had grown deeply dependent on a peer who had become a close friend and whose care and affirmation had become essential to him. When that friend pulled back, Nouwen fell into a period of profound anguish. He describes how he could barely function at the time. He was terrified of losing what he thought was the one person that could make him feel truly known and loved. What emerged from that crisis, slowly and painfully, was a realization that Nouwen couldn't have reached any other way. He had placed on that friendship a weight it was never designed to carry. He was asking one human being to be the source of something only God could provide: constant presence and an unconditional, unshakable affirmation of his worth. He wrote about it plainly. He said he'd been trying to make a human relationship into a relationship with God, and no human being, he came to see, could live up to that expectation. This wasn't because Nouwen's friend didn't love or care about him. It was because perfect, sustaining, unconditional love is not something any creature is able to give. The recovery, and Nouwen was careful to call it a recovery, not a resolution. It came when he stopped anchoring his identity to whether that friendship would hold steady. It came when he let God's voice of love and affirmation become the primary voice he needed to hear, rather than the voice of another person. Nouwen called this moving from the house of fear to the house of love. And the move, he said, was not dramatic. It happened in the quiet, and it required returning again and again to a love from God that he had not earned and could not lose. God says something in Isaiah 43 that's almost startling in its directness. Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. Not fear not because your relationships are secure. Not fear not because the people you love will stay. Fear not because you are mine. The security God is offering here is not circumstantial. It doesn't hinge on what happens in any human relationship. It precedes all of it and outlasts all of it. You are known by name. You are claimed. You belong to a Father and Savior whose love and care does not shift, does not tire, and does not have bad days that cause him to withhold affection. That is the foundation Nouwen found his way back to. Not a consolation, the thing itself. So here's the takeaway I want to leave us with. Feeling anxious about a relationship doesn't mean you love that person too much. It might mean you're asking human love to do something it was never designed to do, to carry the full weight of your identity and your sense of ultimate security. The people in your life can offer you something real and beautiful. They can be incomplete yet meaningful pictures of the God who loves you, gave himself for you, and will never leave or forsake you. But they cannot be your rock. They were never meant to be. When you release other people from that impossible expectation, something shifts. You become able to receive what they actually do offer: ordinary, imperfect, genuinely good connection, with gratitude rather than resentment. And when relational loss comes, as it sometimes will in all of our lives, you find yourself less shattered than you feared. The psalmist says it simply: He alone is my rock. Build from there. Love freely from there. And let the people in your life be people again, not substitutes for the God who already knows your name and has already claimed you as his. This has been That's a Great Question. I'll see you next time.